good morning, good morning, and welcome to the mid-morning show with RK3 and SCC. How y'all doing today? We got something hot for you, so feel free to jump on in, share your thoughts, post, share. We want all of that because we're going to bring all that to you. Good morning, brother. How you doing today?
Amazing, man. Can't complain. How about you?
Great without coffee. I'm trying to get like you. This is going to be my new coffee, man, you know?
There we go. There we go. What's this? Today's show is sponsored by Kirkland Purified Water.
Right.
Or Wegmans.
Yep. From the people who brought you H2O. Yeah, but how was your weekend?
My weekend was awesome, man. Can't complain. As I was saying to you before, I had the opportunity to just jump in and produce a wedding with my brother and his company on Sunday. So that was a good thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, busy weekend. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what? The funny thing is I woke up this morning and I went downstairs and I said to my wife, do you remember the days where you got to wake up when you felt like it, when school had vacation and you didn't have anything to do. You got to wake up and just chill and watch TV. It's like my kids, they're off this week and they got nothing to do, but here we are. We get up and we got to plug away again. We got to keep just doing life. We got to adult, right? We got to keep adulting. Yeah.
But you know, the thing about it for me is this is why I tell people don't do it unless you really love it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, my humble opinion, you really need to, have to, got to love what you do, because
you do.
That is the quality of life that keeps on giving, because you keep on living in that space. And so many people miss that and don't realize what that feels like.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with my mastermind, one of my mastermind groups this morning, my accountability partners, and I was sharing with them that I had a client that I had to speak for or do some workshops for. It was 3 days of workshops, but they were like in Zurich or Switzerland. Okay. I mean, everybody. So which means that I had to be up the workshop started at 3:00 in the morning, my time. Right. So I had to be up at 2:15, log on to the pre-call like 2:30 and we go live at 3:00 in the morning, 3 to like 5:30. And then I may get some sleep. I wake up the kids and then I'm on another workshop at like 10:00 in the morning. I said, man, it was tiring. But I also said at the end of that, I said, but you know what? I love the heck out of what I do. I mean, if you don't love what you do, you come out of that stuff complaining because you're worn out, you're tired, and you're like, why am I doing this again?
What was that old thing? Shame on you. Not really shame though, but you know, I just think that at least bare minimum, once in your life, whoever it is, you have to experience what it's like doing something that either you love, you always wanted to do, or that is so much fun to you that you just can't wait to do it again. And if you experience that, then you know exactly what Robert is talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because to me, even though you get paid for it, there's no dollar amount that can match the exhilaration, the satisfaction that you get from that, knowing that you are the go-to guy, or you're the guy, gal, that has the goods and you enjoy it and people want what you bring to the table. That's just a fantastic feeling.
Yeah. I mean, and I wish more people could have it, because I see quite a few people. I run across so many people that are tired, right? I was in my mastermind again. We were talking about a certain what do I want to call them? A certain expert. I'll say that. There was a certain expert that had an event, and a friend of mine went to that event virtually, and the sell from the event was to work with this expert at about $25,000 for the year. That was the sell. And now my friend was like, wow, who has $25,000 just kind of sitting around to work with somebody like as a coach for the year. And she said that a lot of the people in the room were people in their 40s, maybe early 50s. And I said, you know what? Here's what happens with that type of thing. People are willing to spend that money maybe at a certain age because you've worked all your life or you've done certain things all your life and you've been dissatisfied with them. So now you're kind of like, my goodness, I have not enjoyed these last 2 decades to their fullest.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving into that new phase. I'm looking to get a different sense of purpose. And so money is not the important thing right now. Whatever I got to spend, because I probably have lived more than I've got left, right? So the money, if I've got to spend in order to find or derive purpose from the rest of this life that I've got left, then I'm going to do that, you know? And so I just want to say that to encourage people, like, listen, I'm not saying that you need to spend $25,000, but you've got to get yourself in a place so that you don't feel pressed to spend that in order to find the purpose.
And the key is, I think, with Robert saying that you are worth it, whatever the dollar amount, whether it's that actual dollar amount, less, whatever, anywhere in between, you are worth the opportunity to experience that, because there's only one you. And if you've never done something you wanted, take a point in your life that you can really do it and not have regrets about it, and really immerse yourself fully in that thing, because you truly are worth it.
So let me ask you, man, what is one thing, what is one practice, what is one habit that you have now in your life that allows you to really accomplish that, or to get to that place?
Honestly, I think I'm a bit of a weird person, an oddball. I think I was born with this drive that I didn't always know I had. I never tried to identify it, but I think I'm just a naturally born driven person. When I was doing music, it was the same way. I was just so in it. I would write and rehearse and blah, blah, blah. And the same thing when it comes to being a speaker and a coach. Sometimes when I'm working on a project, I just immerse myself in it. So it's about really, I care about the outcome. So, and I care about differentiating myself from, the typical. So I want to add or have so much value that I'm really putting myself in that space that, how can I make sense with this? So I'm just going all in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just for those of you that are watching, those of you that are hanging out, if you've got any thoughts, any questions, any comments, go ahead and put those in the chat. I saw Mendy Lipsker said, good morning. Hey, Mendy, how you doing? If you have any other thoughts or any other questions, make sure that you put those in the chat for us so that we can either address them today, or maybe it's something that we can look at for a future episode as we have these conversations, right?
Hey, Leroy, thanks for jumping on and joining us this morning.
Hey, Leroy, how you doing? Good stuff. So the thing that we wanted to talk about today is persuading others. What is the thing that you need to do? What is one thing that we can do to persuade others? And when we talk about persuading, as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, as people, vice presidents, executives, people that are inside of organizations, and even as a father or a family person, we find the need to persuade people all the time, whether that's sales or whatever it is. We've got to figure out how to persuade people, because ultimately there's a result that we're after, right? So my family is there are 5 of us in our family, and we all have 5 different thought processes and 5 different perspectives and ideas. And so literally one of the questions that we ask all the time, my wife has already asked me today, she's like, what do you want for dinner?
Okay.
Right. Or the other question, it's not what do you want for dinner, it's what are we doing for dinner today?
Yeah, there you go. That's the question. I get that all the time.
There's a different question. So there's got to be some level of, if I have a thought about it and she doesn't disagree and she doesn't agree with it, on some level there's a persuasion or an influence we've got to navigate, right? Right. So what are some of the things, or maybe I'll ask you, we'll start out by asking you, what is the one thing that you do when you know that you need to persuade?
Well, what is the one thing? I think one of the most important things is I wrote a post about, I did a video, and I wrote about it in my newsletter. The fact that sometimes we have to understand how it is, or what it takes to listen and abandon. As my good friend Dr. Mangum says, take the meat and toss the bones. So you got to be able to listen to people and sort through the minutia to find out what it is that their real concerns are, and what it is that they really need in order to be able to reach them. And if you can listen and abandon, all the clues and the cues are right there in order for you to persuade them, because basically they're going to wind up telling you what they need, or telling you where they're at, so that you can know what to go after, or what things to bring to their attention to get them to either where they want to be or where they need to be. So I would say listen and abandon.
Yeah. So, I mean, that really kind of makes me think about the conversation that we had maybe last week when we talked about the con game, right? And we talked about how con is confidence. And I used the example of was it Ocean's 12, where they referred to themselves as not con men, but confidence men.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And I think about, there was this other show. There was the show on, I believe it was Amazon Prime, called Sneaky Pete. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Right. Yes. So Sneaky Pete, the plot was that this guy, he was in jail, and his cellmate was a guy named Pete. And Pete was in jail for, I believe, life or a very long time. So when this guy came out, his name was Marcus, he came out, he assumed Pete's identity because Pete, he liked the stories that Pete told him about his family. And it's not the thing, as the show goes on, you realize that Pete didn't just tell him these stories about his family randomly. He asked Pete these questions, and he was literally mining Pete's entire life for information so that he could know every single thing there was to know about Pete, because so that he could assume Pete's place or identity. And it was kind of funny, because when he came out of jail and he went to Pete's family, it's like, people that know you're like your blood, they should know what you look like, right?
Right. But he hoodwinked the whole family.
Right. He hooked with, the entire family, because he'd been in jail apparently 10 years, 15 years or whatever. So they kind of felt like, oh, we haven't seen him in, so he's probably changed a little bit since his teen years or whatever. But, the story inside of all of that, though, goes to like just what you just said. You've got to be able to listen to people before you persuade people. Yeah. You can't persuade people if you don't understand what it is that they need, what is it that they want, what is it that drives them, what is it that excites them. If you're able to understand and deep dive into all of that, then my goodness, you've got a leg up, right? And so I initially I was gonna have a little bit of a different one thing, but it's not different. My one thing really connects right with yours. In order to persuade people, you got to research.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you got to research, and the research in this case comes through asking questions, and then, as you just said, listening. You gotta you gotta listen, because if you don't understand what they want, what they need, then you're never going to be able to persuade them to move in a specific direction. So let me ask you this.
Don't realize that listening is a huge part of communication. They think it's just speaking, literally, and there's so much more. But you were saying.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you the question, what's the difference between persuasion and manipulation?
Oh, that's, I would say easy, but I can see how that can definitely be misconceived very well. Persuasion is sort of like pushing or nudging someone to do a particular thing, and manipulation is doing the same thing, but for your own purposes, for your own well-being, your own good. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's true. Unfortunately, even though our lives are really about sales,
Yeah.
whether it's business or personal, people that are in the traditional sales industry, some of them, not all, some of them use manipulation
Right.
versus persuasion, or even, well, yeah, let me just keep it simple. Many people in the sales industry use manipulation for their own good just to get the sell so they can
Right.
make the money versus listening to the client or working with the client and persuading them to see what will work better for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I asked that because it's very important to have that distinction, because I mean, some of the examples that we're using Sneaky Pete, we're using Ocean's 12, and we're, confidence and persuasion. I really want people to understand that the root of all of this kind of comes from the same place. The idea of persuasion and influence comes from the same place that conning or being a confidence man comes from, but the intention of it is what creates a difference between the two of these. Am I asking you to do something for my own selfish gain, or are we looking at the greater good of a community or greater good of you, as how can I serve you?
And that's a big part, because it's all strategy. And that's why I kind of like drew back when you asked the question, because I was going to throw the word strategy in there. I know that could be confusing. It's all strategy. However, the strategy is to persuade or to manipulate. And for what you and I do, it's about persuading with the intent of helping the client or the customer get what they want. Unfortunately, so many other people have messed up many industries because of their own selfish desires or in-game results that they want. So big difference.
Yeah. So as we look to kind of towards 2021 here, why would you say for business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, these words that we're talking about authority, we're talking about influence, we're talking about persuasion today. Why is that important for the people that we just mentioned?
Well, to me, number one is because the game has changed. The landscape has changed. And when I say the game or the landscape, the way we do business, the way we interact with other people, it's changed completely. Now, will it ever go back? I don't know. Will it go back somewhat? Possibly so. But then that's always iffy, because you see what happened when the country attempted, or parts of the country, or parts of the world, let me just keep it real, parts of the world try to open up too soon. Certain places flare it back up. So since the landscape has changed, we need to know how we're engaging one another. And the persuasive piece, we need to know that, okay, landscapes change. I have to do business somewhat different, or I have to interact with people somewhat different. Let me realize, how to manage this thing. Let me realize how to strategize so that I can get the same results I got before, if not better, but doing it still somewhat differently. So that's really important.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm asking that question because if you haven't seen it yet, down at the bottom of the screen here, we've got this banner that's kind of moving across saying register for Build Influence 2021. Charles and I, we've been having these conversations. We've been exploring some of the different areas of influence, of persuasion, of authority, of communication, because we really believe that, listen, if you have gone through this year 2020 and you have not seen that you need to equip yourself differently, right? If you've just been kind of going along with the regular, the status quo, the routine, and 2020 hits you and you haven't seen that you need to equip yourself differently in order to truly make a difference, then I'm not clear what year you've experienced right now. But we want to be able to help people do that. We really believe that now is the time for your story to be heard. Now is the time for your business to flourish. Now is the
Yeah.
time for your words to make a difference for other people. Now is
And
the
let me
time for
say
you to
this.
impact, influence, and inspire. Go ahead, man.
There are a lot of boomers that are about to retire or they're retiring, and
Yeah.
some don't know what they're retiring to. And unfortunately, as we have seen in the past, many people retire only to re-enter the workforce on a lower level job or an
Right.
menial task or doing something they really don't want to do, but they need a little extra money before the Social Security kicks in, or they
Right.
need a little extra money to make ends meet because they were used to living way up here and now their retirement is reduced by 20 to 30%. So this is a smart time, a very intelligent time to look at yourself and say, honestly,
Yeah.
am I doing what I want to do? Have I ever done what I've always wanted to do? What about those skills that I once upon a time did and I left them because I got an offer and it got comfortable and I got comfortable and I never looked back at it. But I know that my finances will be challenged.
Right.
This is the perfect time to look at the art of you building authority and influence. And it's not just because we're offering it, it's a reality. If you don't look at it, what are you going to be faced with when you do retire? If you don't have enough uh, money at the end of your month. So I would like to also offer another bonus about the persuasion piece. In order to be able to persuade people, you have to think about the fact that you need to have and exhibit confidence. You have to show confidence
Yeah.
and you have to be able to exhibit confidence. People follow confident people. And if
Yeah.
you're going to exhibit and show that level of confidence, no matter what your industry, no matter what your profession, you have a higher likeliness of drawing those people to you so that they get what they want. And by default, you get what you want. So that's
Yeah.
a bonus. Remember it, take it away. It makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to learn about influence? There's a lot of different resources. You can read Robert Cialdini's book, Influence. That's like the seminal work when you think about influence as well. And I've gotten a lot of great nuggets from that book. In addition to that, there are some practical pieces. There are some practical things that you can begin to do if you've decided that now is the time for you to unleash. If you've decided that now is the time for you to launch or the time for you to really share it on a different scale. There's some practical things that you can do to help you structure and framework that desire. So what we want to offer to you is some help in that regards on December 3rd, as we mentioned, at 5 p.m. Charles and I, Sir Charles Carey, and I will be offering this workshop, How to Build Authority and Influence, the Art of You. As it says on the screen here, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, if you're an emerging leader, if you're a speaker or an aspiring speaker, if you want to learn about which platforms to use, how to use newer methodologies, how to navigate speaking publicly and navigate the risk of being criticized for your story, for your message, you want to be a part of this session. So make sure that you go to buildinfluence.com. Okay, buildinfluence2021.com because and 2021's on there because this is a preparation for what is to come. We want to equip you for what is to come. So go ahead and get registered, buildinfluence2021.com, and hang out with us. Learn, get value, get some gold that you can use to help you impact, influence, and inspire. Listen, y'all, today has been, go ahead, man, close us out.
And please leave your comments, whether you've experienced some of the things we're discussing. If you want to know more about what we're discussing, definitely if you're interested and ready to move forward with participating in this workshop, I think you're going to love it. There are going to be a lot of giveaways and bonuses, honestly, and they will lead to other things. I promise you. I know I'm all in. I know Robert's all in, and the cure for your life starts with you.
Yeah.
With the right mindset. You got to have the right mindset. That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, y'all, tomorrow is another day. We're going to be back with another session at, what's our time tomorrow? 1 p.m. 1 p.m.
Yes,
and you know how we do it. We do it at 1:05. So 1:05 p.m. we're going to be back on, and we want to just hang out with you guys. If you have questions, feel free to leave us any questions in the chat or in the comments area here. If you want us to discuss a topic specifically, make sure that you let us know that, and we'll bring that on. But we just want to say, listen, we're excited. We're looking forward to December 3rd. Go to buildinfluence2021.com, and we'll see y'all tomorrow at 1:05 p.m.
Radiate the brain, change the game.
There we go.